unprecedented rates.
And we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change.
All that I've seen and learned on my journey has absolutely terrified me.
Because when it comes to climate, time really is running out.
Almost like the world is flat. The world's not flat. Humans are causing climate change. By 2031, you got to get something done, or it's going to be a catastrophe for most of humanity.
What I'm saying is the planet's on fucking fire.
When we release carbon, say by burning coal or driving an SUV, all of us pay for that in the form of things like fires, floods, and crop failures. By the end of this century, if emissions keep rising, the average temperature on Earth could go up another 4 to 8 degrees. 97% of climate scientists agree that this new tendency is not caused by the variations of the Earth's orbit, but rather very likely caused by human activities. That means you and me.
South Florida, as we know it, could be washed away by rising seas. That's according to a new study out this week. But is there anything that can be done to stop it?
A report published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences finds Miami, New Orleans, Boston, and Long Beach, California may be doomed to fall victim to ever-rising sea levels.
Entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months could be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years. Bob used a figure of 2030.
Al Gore's back. He just put out his new anti-global warming documentary. It's called An Inconvenient Sequel. Like in his previous film, An Inconvenient Truth, Gore warns about imminent planetary catastrophe if everybody doesn't start using less energy and throwing off less carbon. We've got some inconvenient truths of our own. A new paper points out that Gore's personal home in Nashville, Tennessee, consumes 21 times as much electricity as a typical American home.
Well, it makes you wonder if he actually believes what he's saying. I mean, this is a guy who has not only this home that burns more electricity in 1 year than the average American burns in their home in 21 years, but he also has 2 other homes on top of it.
I live a carbon-free lifestyle.
I think we have to end the word climate change and own up to the fact it is the climate crisis now.
Well, new data shows that Kerry's private jet has raked in frequent flyer miles in recent years, including a 2019 trip to Iceland. And here's the funny part. He went to Iceland to accept an award for climate leadership.
It's the only choice for somebody like me. The time it takes me to get somewhere. I can't sail across the ocean. I have to fly to meet with people and get things done. But what I'm doing, almost full time, is working to win the battle of climate change.
You've got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money.
See, I'm not one of these people who's worried about everything. You got these people around you, the country's full of them now. People walking around all day long, worried about everything. Worried about the air, worried about the water, worried about the soil. Irrespective of how we act on this planet, 25 species that were here today will be gone tomorrow. Let them go gracefully. Leave nature alone. Haven't we done enough?
Do we want climate justice? When do we want it? Now! No more blah, blah, blah! No more!
And all those promises will be nothing but blah, blah, blah.
I think... I'm sorry, what was the first question?
What's the message you would like to
send
to our leaders
by
doing what you are doing?
I think what we want to send is... The message we want to send is to say that we have had enough. And anyone else wants to answer that question? I can't speak on behalf of everyone.
Please welcome newly appointed United Nations Messenger of Peace, Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's not about just telling people to change their light bulbs or to buy a hybrid car. This disaster has grown beyond the choices that individuals make. This is now about our industries and our governments around the world taking decisive, large-scale action.
I think this whole administration has completely lost their fucking mind! And I think we're all gonna die!
We're so self-important, so self-important. And the greatest arrogance of all, save the planet. What? Are these fucking people kidding me? Save the planet? We don't know how to take care of ourselves yet. We haven't learned how to help one another. We're gonna save the fucking planet? I am getting tired of that shit. I'm tired of fucking Earth Day. I'm tired of these fucking self-righteous environmentalists. I'm tired of these white, liberal, bourgeois, liberal, white people who think the only thing wrong with this planet is there aren't enough bicycle paths, trying to make the world safe and clean for their Volvos. And I'm really sick of these rock stars and movie stars gonna work off their cocaine guilt by saving a forest somewhere.
I mean, this is climate change. I don't know what more people need to see. And I'm very sad to say they're going to see a lot more in our lifetime to understand that this is human cause. We are at the fossil fuel industry and the future of humanity are fundamentally incompatible. They just are. I mean, that's not a political opinion. That is the science. We continue to burn fossil fuels, our planet will become inhabitable. We are at the brink.
You're not going anywhere.
I think that the part of it that millennials and people, and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And like, this is the war. This is our World War II.
Everybody's gonna save something now. I'll save the trees, save the bees, save the whales, save those snails. Besides, there's nothing, first of all, the environmentalists don't give a shit about the planet. They don't care about the planet, not in the abstract they don't. You know what they're interested in? A clean place to live, their own habitat. They're worried that someday in the future they might be personally inconvenienced. Narrow, unenlightened self-interest doesn't impress me. Besides, there's nothing wrong with the planet. The planet is fine. The people are fucked. The people are fucked. Compared to the people, the planet is doing great. The planet has been here for 4.5 billion years, all right? 4.5 billion. We've been here, what, 100,000? Maybe. 200,000? Maybe. And we've only been engaged in heavy industry for a little over 200 years. 200 years versus 4.5 billion. And we have the conceit to think that somehow we're a threat, that somehow we're going to put in jeopardy this beautiful little blue-green ball that's just floating around the sun. Planet has been through a lot worse than us for a long time. Been through earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, continental drift, solar flares, sunspots, magnetic storms, the magnetic reversal of the poles, bombardments for hundreds of thousands of years by comets and asteroids and meteors, sandstorms, erosion of all kinds, cosmic radiation, worldwide fires, worldwide floods, recurring ice ages.
If that were really true, what you believe, and let's just for a moment say that it is true, that means that the best scenario vis-a-vis global warming is about 10 feet raise in water. That's the best scenario over the next 40, 50 years. That's the best scenario. The worst scenario is about 100 feet. But let's just take the 10 feet. If the water on the planet is going to rise up 10 feet, that means the southern part of the United States is gone. England is gone. Most of Europe is gone. And I can go, most of Central America is gone. Okay. If that's the case, Let's just take Florida, for example, which is one of the fastest growing beachfront condominiums on the planet. In the prospectus, when you invest, there should be, in the footnotes, if global warming is for real, they won't put it that way, global warming happens and water rises 10 feet, this investment you made is fuck all. Not one single investment prospectus written since 2000, this century, has alluded to global warming. Not one motherfucker. If it were really true, the banks wouldn't invest. The banks wouldn't finance. Not one motherfucking condominium. So the people that have the money, and I'm jealous of the Vice President, Gore, which Sally and I rode on a plane from South America with a few years ago. I am jealous he came up with a scam before I did. Because the financial institutions, the banks of this world know it's not gonna happen. Otherwise, you couldn't get a goddamn loan in London. You know those 30, 40-year mortgages? The world will be over by then. Is Barclays Bank gonna give you a motherfucking loan? With the greatest respect, ma'am, it's the greatest fraud that's been perpetrated on mankind this century.